All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in to NorCal Sports Network. You see the blood in the fork a little deeper into the Giants' gut tonight. But we'll break it all down. And before we do, let us thank our sponsor of the show. That would be Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Berlin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call for all your legal needs at 415-613-9483. Let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. Remember, if you got that personal injury, give Chapman Law Group a call, and do not settle with insurance companies for pennies on the dollar. All right, guys. This is getting embarrassing, as this is after tonight. Lou, why don't you tell them about the new record book that the Giants are in?
Giants were the first team in a week's time to score 4 runs in the first and lose them all. As you guys might have forgotten, because it seems like these games are all on top of each other. The Giants had a 4-0 lead, a 4-1 lead after the first, and tonight, of course, they should have probably had about 7 runs, but they only got 4, led again, and they lost all 3 to become the first team in, I think, 50 years where it's happened. Jeez. You know, add-ons, it's just, and, you know, with our pitching staff and our bullpen, it's not surprising, you know, and it's so weird, Dan, because remember, early in the season, we couldn't score early. We were more of like, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th, and now everything's just, you know, changed. You know, what are you going to do? It just, you know, you're playing a team that's better, not better pitching-wise, but when you don't have pitching, no lead is safe.
Yeah. It's this team just has to realize that they're not in the same league, and this is ownership's fault. They've allowed it, and they are not trying to keep up with the Dodgers. They're more concerned about lining their pocketbooks than winning. And as long as people keep showing up, 3 million fans a season, happy with a 500 club, this is the 4th year in a row, 500, and or near 500. You know, they're basically, the Giants are. Have they finished above 500 in the last 4 years, or is it? Let's see, 22 it was 81 and 81. 23 was it 82 and 80 and last year 80 and 8, 79 and 83. I can't remember.
I think it was 82, 80. No, I think it was 81, 80, and 79. Pretty close.
Something like that.
I keep betting the under. So yeah. And then if they lose tomorrow, they'll be 76 and 80. That means the only way they're going to be over 500 is they got to sweep the whole entire homestand.
Yeah. They'll probably go 5-1 and finish 81 and 81. Say, what a finish. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we see how we finish. We finish with tenacity, with great poise, and we have incredible character on this team. This team did not give up. We guarantee next year we'll be right there. We're going to get another Matt Chapman speech that says we're going to go sign guys. I've talked to people. People are calling me, and we're going to be in the playoffs next year. Thank you for your support. We'll be back. Yeah, let's hear it again. This is like the boy who cried wolf. Josh Mostard, I did hear this tonight. The Giants and Dodgers are They were 1287 and 1287 all time until tonight. So what that means is the Giants may have a shot tomorrow, because that's how baseball works. They'll go into next season tied at 1288. Yeah, that's about the only chance the Giants have, is that the baseball gods are on their side, because they certainly cannot keep up. Hey, I hate to do it, but it was 4-2. I had to be somewhere tonight, so I missed the first 3 innings, but I did go back and watch it and saw Eldridge's big hit. But when I saw it was 4-2, I looked up on my FanDuel account. I says, "Oh, hurry up. Oh, I don't have any money in there. I got to add money." It was plus 125 for the Dodgers on the money line. So by the time I got to it, Giants had got in the 3rd inning that they had not scored. So, Dodgers coming up, the odds naturally drop. But I did get the Dodgers at plus 122. It was like taking candy from a baby, Lou. I knew the Giants bullpen couldn't hold that lead. I mean, anytime the Giants get a lead on the Dodgers, go get your plus money.
Yeah, I've bet in the Giants against the Giants every game. I bet, little money just on the Dodgers itself, and then I bet the run line, because that's usually plus something. And then I've been betting team totals. Especially when I see Robert here, when his great Webb pitches, and it's only the Dodgers only have to score 4. That's like stealing 2. Let's face it. We have one pitcher, and that's Verlander, that is consistent. Tomorrow's guy, as one of his Dan's favorites pitching tomorrow.
Is it Thomas Bryant Davidson again tomorrow?
It is Thomas.
He is awesome.
And
Thomas.
in a huge game where basically there's 7 nails in the coffin, why not bring your buddy to pitch? Why not? We have nobody else. And I think the other problem is he's going to be a sacrificial lamb, because who else are we going to use? That hasn't pitched in the last couple days. And that's the problem. And the one thing too is, somebody I was watching the internet said he thinks this bullpen might be the worst he's ever seen. Well, how did we get to this? When you really think about it, the last month, this bullpen has been a disaster. We have a closer that nobody likes. Our bullpen isn't number 1, like Robert claimed, like usual, Robert. We have dropped significantly. I think I heard we at one time early in the year, we were like 3rd, 4th best. I think I heard we're like 25th now. That's how bad it's gotten. But who do you blame for this? Is it the GM? Is it Buster? And I didn't have an answer. I wrote that guy. I said, that's a great question. But, right now our bullpen is just unreliable, And the other thing is, a lot of these guys might not be back next year. I don't know. They're all like the 4A players. And when you go against quality opponents, it happens. It's something that, we'll definitely talk about, in our year wrap up. But it's just amazing how the bullpen's now the major problem. And then, of course, just so you know, and Robert, of course, thinks we have the greatest offense, 14, 14, and 12 strikeouts. That's pretty bad in 3 consecutive games, Dan.
Yeah.
So.
Mike Link Music says, I'm a Dodger fan, but I'm not here to hate on the Giants. I love baseball, and I really loved how the Giants, Padres, and Dodgers all started the season with historic stats. I wanted the Giants in the wild card. Well, that's a nice thought, but it's not going to happen this year, unfortunately. Again, but thanks for those comments. Robert says, okay, Robert, hold on here. Now you're saying let's make excuses why the Giants, we only have 3 stars. Well, whose fault is that, Robert? Whose fault is that? Do you know how many injuries the Dodgers had this year? How many starting pitchers they planned? They planned. So look, Robert, the problem is this team has 0 depth. They are a poorly run franchise. I'm here to tell you this team has no depth. I told you guys, if I didn't tell you guys, What did I say the second half? I said the problem with this team, the biggest problem is not going to be their hitting. It's going to be their pitching. They have no depth at starting pitching, and their bullpen is going to get tired. And then didn't help that they traded Rodgers away. This team is not good, Robert. It's not good. It's just, I don't know what to tell you guys that are Giants fans. Look, like Josh says, I'm a Giants fan, or Jonah. Dan, you're a Giants fan, but you hold the franchise accountable. That's why you have an audience. No excuses, only truth telling. Just telling you guys, look, I don't like it as much as any other Giants fan, but I'm not going to sugarcoat you and tell you like a bunch of the other Giants media that will tell you that this is great. Look, I'm here to tell you guys right now that this team will be 500 for the foreseeable future unless they choose and pick a lane. Because if they don't pick a lane to get in, and when I talk about lanes to get in, I am talking about going after some big-time players and spending in free agency. Let me tell you what I think the Giants need to do next year. They need to go get Robert Suarez from the Padres and make him their closer. They need to go get Bo Bichette and put him in the infield. They need to, ideally, they should trade Chapman and move Casey Schmidt to third and save the money. And Chapman does not help this team one bit. Okay. Great third baseman. Where's it getting you? Okay. I would get rid of Chapman, but you're probably stuck. So that's probably not going to happen, but they can go get a Bo Bichette. I would open back the Brinks truck up, go try and get Kyle Tucker. Maybe if you can't get him, get Kyle Schwarber for your DH, put Eldridge in one of the outfield spots, put Deverett first. Maybe you trade Ramos and somebody else and you try and get a Stephen Kwan. You need somebody that with contact. Look, I like Ramos, but I'm not ready to just give up on Ramos. But they've got to do something. Dan, what do you do with the Eldridge Devers situation? Look, if Rafi says he wants to play first, you're going to probably have to go with that because he's your star and he's got 8 years to go. I would make Eldridge a corner outfielder. Look, how many 6'7" outfielders are out there? There's James Wood of the Nationals. There's Aaron Judge. Look, Encarnacion is like 6'4", not that fleet-footed. Bryce is a better athlete than that guy. So I don't understand why the Giants aren't putting Eldridge in a corner outfield spot. And, maybe you move Ramos to the DH and you go with Lee in center and go out and get a Tucker or something. Look, we all like Drew Gilbert's enthusiasm, okay? Right? He's fun and all that. He's not the answer to look, 162 games. Look at everybody was handing Pete Crow Armstrong the first half. He's the MVP. He was so awful in the second half. Why? Because it's a 162 game season and these guys are young and they get figured out. They break down, they get weaknesses and other pitching. They've got scouts, advanced scouts, and they're told, hey, look, this is where his weak spot is. It's up and in or low and away, whatever it is, they're going to exploit it. And that's why you see guys go into 1 for 30 slumps. Nick Kurtz earlier this season was horrible after he came up. Couldn't buy a hit. And what did he do? He adjusted and he probably should be. I don't know who else is rookie of the year in the American League, but it should be that guy. I can't think of anybody else, but so George, wait a minute. Hold on here. Let me get this comment. George says, laughing out loud, Dan, Those were all my suggestions the other night to acquire the talent you met. That's hilarious. I don't remember seeing that. Maybe I did. Maybe I mentioned it. I can't remember what I say from day to day. But I've been thinking of that for a while. That's good. That's good. We're on the same page. But look, this team is going nowhere, and I don't think they're going to spend the money. Oh, nice catch by the Cal receiver. Nice touch pass by JKS. I don't think the Giants. What do you think, Lou? Do you think the Giants ownership will be willing to fork money out? We got the fork in the background. Do you think they're going to fork any money out this offseason to try to actually, instead of saying we want to get a third wild card? Hey, you know what? Maybe you should shoot for the division. Oh, no, fumble. Oh, my gosh. San Diego State's going to run it all the way in on a fumble touchdown. Wow. Do you think the Giants, maybe they should spend enough money to say we're going to shoot for the division instead of shooting for the wild card? If you aim low and you miss, there's no place to go. Why not aim high?
The Giants will have the exact same team, probably 90% of these bums, and as I call them, crumbs, because that's how we are. You know, I mean, I'm going to bring up a stat right now that I heard that sort of boggled the mind, and I think of Robert when I say it, when he says we have 3 pitchers. Robert, we don't have 3 pitchers. Is anybody aware of Ray's record since the All-Star game? Take a wild guess, Dan.
Let's say 1-7,
2-5 with an ERA of 5.98. Now, here's the thing. The Giants could have traded him and probably got great prospects. But now we stick with him too long. And as Dan said, we got lucky that he had a great year this year. We're not guaranteed next year is going to be the same. And the Giants are going to have to decide, what are we going to do with Ray? Because he's going to have 1 year left. The Giants probably are going to try to get other pitchers, and they're going to
They waited too long.
Again, they waited too long. I think the problem with the Giants is they need a whole new outfield. I don't think Lee is 162 starter. I think he's basically probably a 4th outfielder, especially the way he hits, where, you know, he literally tries to hit a ball out of Grand Canyon every time. He overswings. I mean, tonight, yeah, he had 2 doubles, but I mean, 2 singles. But the best play is he beat out almost a double play. That was his best play of the night. And, you know, I think it's bad. I think we need a whole new outfield. I think we need a couple things. And yeah, everybody in the chat says acknowledge Eldridge got a hit. But you know what? The guy's now batting .089. Okay, congrats. He got a big hit when it counted, but they only had 1 run add-on, and they lost. You know, you guys in the chat get all excited about something. Oh, my God, CMC scored, ran for 225 yards in a game. Yeah, but the 49ers lost 49-7. I know, but CMC had – you guys, it's all about the W. You know, it's the same thing. Why I don't really like Melvin is since he left the A's, you know, he doesn't win. You know, and it's one of those things. Dan's question is, are they going to spend the money? My answer is no, because the people we are going after, other teams also want. And you got to remember, you have a chance to get someone like Bo Bichette. You got to remember other teams that also need a hitter like Bo Bichette and a position player. There's a lot of other teams. You know, me and Dan we're talking about, there's a team right now that is 15-1 in their last 16 games. Okay, you guys probably don't even know who it is. It's Cleveland, okay? One of Dan's giveaways, the original Tribe hat, right? Not the Guardians, Tribe.
They're one game behind the Tigers.
1 game behind the division, and they're a wild card right now. They could use someone like him. They only have 1 superstar, and they spent $85 million less than us. So, you know, we could dream, but also you guys got to remember the Giants themselves have literally 4 huge contracts, and we're not even talking about Ray. Okay, so when you have 4 big contracts, that means you can only have 5 other players, and the Giants are going to go cheap. they're going to say, oh, well, we have Gilbert. They're going to do it like they did with Yaz. They'll pay Gilbert a little bit because he's cheap and he's enthusiastic, but it doesn't bring you the wins. Dan brought up a great point. These guys are good, just like last year. Everybody in the chat, I'm so excited about Fitzgerald. Does anybody even know if Fitzgerald's still in the majors? Because I haven't heard anything. That's the problem.
He's not. He's not in the majors.
When we get these basic players that are basically, as Dan originally was the first to say it, that are 4A players, these are the results you're going to get. So I'm just thinking probably next opening day, there might be one or two people that aren't high people we're talking about now, but we're basically going to have the same team, Dan. And you bring up a great point. The Giants are happy with that. They're going to get $3 million. But let me tell you, this year's weekend schedule was great. Next year, you have the Yankees to start. You have the Dodgers to end. The weekend schedule is horrible. There'll be more giveaways than you've ever seen because they're going to have to.
Yeah.
So
let me answer a couple questions. We got a super chat from Bill we'll get to. Senior says, Dan, which team would you rather have, Sac A's or the Giants? I would take the A's in a heartbeat, and then I would go and fill my pitching staff with free agency. You got a bunch of young players that are inexpensive. You've got 6 players on the A's that I would take right now and find a spot that would replace Giants. And that's Leroy Butler, Brent Rooker, Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, Shane Langoliers, and Soderstrom. Okay.
And Dan, beside one, aren't they all under 23 years old?
Pretty much. Rooker's the only one that's up
the
there. I think
oldest, yeah.
And they can hit. They're going to be look. The A's are the A's. They're run by a crappy owner, but if they do things right, they've got a much brighter future than the Giants. Much brighter. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you the Giants are going to be a 500 team for the foreseeable future. Why? Because they will do just enough to make you think they're competitive. And don't be fooled anymore by an 70 to 80 game start. The Giants will fold like a tent in a stinking hurricane when it comes to the second half. This team has no pitching. They don't have the depth. I am so tired of seeing just the average dude that comes in. They don't have any guys that, Birdsong, he's got potential, but he's got to figure it out. Roop looks like he's got some potential, but health-wise, look, these guys were stretched beyond their limits, and I told you that was going to happen this year. So, and Bill says, thank you for the $5 donation, Joe. Bill says, super chat, Giants will not win for at least 5 years with current ownership. Scouts, dump everyone but Buster. All right. I will tell you this. I am a Buster fan, but I'm also going to give you guys a little bit of, how do I say this? Let me give you a little different perspective on Buster, okay? Now, if any of you guys have a glass of Kool-Aid in your hands, you might want to set it down because I don't want you to choke, okay? I don't want you to choke on the Kool-Aid. Buster is a great baseball player. He is seems like a great husband and father. He's a good actor for Toyota. Seems like a really nice guy. I'm a Buster fan, but he's learning on the job right now. It's not going to be easy. Him and Zach, what's his name? I forgot the guy's name. Maniason, thank you. Him and Zach Maniason, they mentioned Zach Maniason, we're still learning. We're trying to figure, we're learning. Okay, you hired an inexperienced GM who'd never been a GM before that's learning the ropes, and you've got a guy that's president of baseball operations that's never been in the front office running. You think they can just jump in and just be Houdini and make all these wonderful things? Look, why did Rafael Devers strike out 30% of the time as a Giant and only 22.5% as a Red Sox this year? What's going on? What is the deal between Devers striking out like almost 7% more than he did as a Red Sox? Is it, I'm with Bill. I would fire not just the ownership, the scouts, the coaches, the hitting coach. And I think what's going to happen is I think the Giants are going to struggle for the next 2 seasons to be competitive. And it would not shock me. And put your Kool-Aid down, Robert. Don't choke on this. But it wouldn't shock me if Posey says, I'm going to be involved with baseball operations, but we're going to we got an opportunity to hire a real experienced president of baseball operations. Like, let's say somebody like I'm drawing a blank on, because my mind's not thinking clearly right now. I'm watching a Cal game and talking to you guys and trying to get who's the president of baseball ops with the Phillies? And he used to be with the Red Sox and he won World Series there. Help me out. I see his face. He's got gray hair.
The one also with the Cubs? No.
No.
It's. I'm trying to think, kids. You threw me for a curveball there.
Someone's going to pop it up before I do. Phillies president of Dombrowski. Thank you, George. Dave Dombrowski. Look, somebody like that comes along and wants a change because maybe the Phillies. Look, the Phillies are getting old. Okay, this is one of their last shots. This is one of their last shots. The Phillies. They've got maybe this year and next year, because Trey Turner's getting old, Schwarber's getting older, Harper's getting old. These guys aren't going to be at the top. Remember the Phillies in 08, 09, 10, and we knocked them off in 10, and then they just crashed. That's what happens in baseball, unless you're willing to keep spending money like the Dodgers do. So let me see. What do we got? Senior says, I truly think if Posey didn't have that beautiful young family, or if they were older, he would be in the dugout and killing it. It's possible. He's got a bright mind. Look, Buster is not the problem that I see with the organization. The problem that I see is Greg Johnson and Larry Baer and the rest of the ownership group that really wants to put as much money as they possibly can into Mission Rock, and they want to give these giveaways, and they're happy with 3 million people. You think they give a crap that they're 500? They're laughing their butts off. They're laughing their butts off. They're going to look at the bank account and say, cha-ching, and look at that. We pulled it off again. These people are still living in fantasy land. You know what? They got Buster in, so now everybody's thinking 2010 to 14 all over again. But you know what? Buster's not playing. Buster's not on the field. He's got 29 other people that have more experience than him that are calling shots for other teams that are savvy enough to make different deals. Was the Devers deal a good deal? It looks like it, but it also might be an albatross in a few years. It might be. I'm okay with the Devers deal. I'd pull the trigger on that again. I don't think they gave up much in getting Devers, but where your real problem is, and this is on Buster, it's Chapman and Adames. Those aren't big-time difference makers. Robert says, don't be surprised if he revamps this team. Robert, what's he going to do? How's he going to revamp it? with Chapman, unless ownership gives him a blank check and says, here you go spend $125 million this offseason and spread it around, get some players, then maybe you could do something. But I don't think they're going to spend that much money. Buster's on record saying that he likes the team the way it is. That, well, look, guys, I mean, what about this team makes you feel like it's going to be good?
And Dan, Devers' situation, right place at the right time, and they took all the money. If you remember, guys, Boston has a better record than the Giants. They got rid of his big contract. The Giants were the only team really that we heard of that was willing not to trade the players, which was fine. And a lot of people in the chat were upset. Oh, my God, we gave up Harrison. He's this. Guys, there's reasons why, the Giants have problems. We think guys are better than they are. But we literally took on a 7-year contract, guaranteed. So Devers is with us. The other thing is, if you remember, Dan, nobody wants to sign here. So because of our situation, we have to do whatever it takes to get a player like Devers. Say this, if Devers was a free agent this offseason, he wouldn't be here. Guys, he would have gone somewhere else. So, again, I think Dan brings up a great point. We didn't give up much. I mean, I don't see you guys sniveling. Oh, my God, I wish we had Harrison. I mean, I still don't think the guy's pitched in the majors. Has he since the trade? And, maybe Boston realizes this guy needs a lot more work. And, it's just like Eldridge. You guys just assume, oh, well, we have Eldridge next year and the rest of our team. That doesn't guarantee us that we're going to be 500. We just talked about pitching right now. 3 months ago, if we were to say that Verlander would be our best pitcher the second half, you guys would have laughed at us. The guy had 1 win. We were saying, this is ridiculous. The guy's 700 years old. We're paying him $16 million, but he's our best pitcher right now. It's, it's one of those things. So I just wanted to bring that up about Devers. Sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries. Dallas in the chat says Harrison pitched well tonight, his first start. Let me pull up the game and see how that went. Kyle Harrison for the Red Sox, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, 86 pitches. He didn't get the win because the Red Sox looks like they didn't give him any run support. Let's see. He pitched 6 innings. Yeah. He only got he left with a 3-1 lead, but the bullpen choked it. And then the Red Sox ended up winning. So Kyle Harrison did pitch well tonight. Let's see, how many walks did he have? Only 2. That's really nice that you stupid ESPN box score. You can't give me the walks. You're just going to give me pitches and base on balls and ERA. I want to see how many he walked. You're saying 2?
2 and then 5 strikeouts.
Geez, I'm going to go to MLB from now on. ESPN, you guys are a joke. Give me a real box score. Come on. Is Bob Melvin safe after this season? Well, that'll give you an indication of what the Giants are made of. I'll tell you what, if Melvin's back, then you know what? Let me just say this.
If they lose tomorrow and they lose, say, 2 of the final 4, that means they go
80 and 82.
No, say they lose, they only win 2 at home, which is sort of like so the last 13 games they go like 3 and 10. Does he deserve to come back?
Look, I don't like to. I just think the Giants need a change. Okay. I'll just say this, guys. If Melvin comes back next year, then you know what the type of baseball man Buster is. I'll just say that. If he brings him back, then he's really not. How else can I put it nicely other than if he comes back, Buster's not cut for the job. He's not cut out for the job because it's a hard thing to fire people. Oh, gosh, he just got picked off, and he's going to go all the way back. No way. 97-yard return. Oh, my gosh. San Diego State is putting it on Cal. Wow. They got it down to the 18-yard line, and JKS just threw. He's having one of those stinker games that always have, when you get built up, you're going to get, that was a 97 to 98-yard interception return. Wow. Sorry, guys. This is more important than the Giants right now.
Hey, Dan, I'll ask you a question. If they bring Melvin but fire some of the coaches, would you be satisfied with that?
No.
Okay.
Look.
They need a whole change with everything. I agree. Just thought I'd ask.
Look, I am not, look, again, and I'm not a Bob Melvin hater as far as, I think he's, I have nothing against Melvin. I just think that the team needs a fresh new voice. It needs younger, I'm not even going to say this is all Melvin. It's not all Melvin's fault. This is the roster construction, guys. This is a piss poor roster construction. I told you this from day one. They strike out way too much. Okay, been telling you this for a couple years now that they strike out too much, and I'm not a Matt Chapman, Willie Adames back-to-back in the lineup fan at all. They need to be separated by a contact hitter or two. Move Chapman down in the lineup. I'd bat him 7th. You just don't have the horses. This team, it gets a little better with Eldridge. He's a strikeout guy too. Eldridge is going to strike out, but I'm not worried about Eldridge. He's 20 years old. He's going to be fine. Just let him develop. And if he struggles for a couple of years with the strikeouts, so did Matt Williams. Okay. And it's a lot harder today because now you don't even get to see the same pitcher for 3 times. You get 2 at-bats against the starting pitcher, and then you got your next 2 at-bats are against flamethrowers that are totally different. So you got a different guy all the time. I'll read you a stat that Ned Coletti sent me a couple days ago or last night. Check this out. Number of 300 hitters every major league season since 2000. In 2000, how many 300 hitters do you think there were, Lou? Take a stab.
Both leagues combined?
Yeah, both leagues combined.
I'd say, what year was it again?
2000.
25. I'd say 25. Higher. 35. 50.
Just a little bit more.
All right, 54. 53.
53. Okay, the next year in 01, Bond's big 73 home run season, 46. In 02, 35. In 03, 40. Then 36, 33, 38, 40, 34, 42. And then 2010, 23. Then 26, 26, 24, 17, 20. In 16 and 17, 25 each. 18 and 19, 16, 18, and then in 20, it jumped up to 23. 21. 14. What do you think in 22?
13.
A little lower.
11.
11. 23.
Because I know there's always been in American leagues, National League problem. 7.
Just a little higher.
9.
9. Perfect. 24.
Last year, they didn't really talk about it, but I know there had to be a couple. So probably I'll say the same number, 9 again.
Well, it was 7.
7.
How about this year in 25? 300 hitters.
Well, I know in the National League, there was only 1 for a while, and the American League had 6. So I'd say 7 again right now as we speak.
6.
6.
So look at where the game's changed. 6. So this is incredible. And ERAs, Ned told me, have never been higher. So what's going on? It's the strikeout.
Yep.
It's the 100-mile-an-hour strikeout, and batters are not adjusting. Guys like Chapman are not adjusting to just hit the ball and instead of trying to kill it. A nice, easy swing when you need to just hit the ball into the outfield to drive in a run or drive him over to the guy on second, nobody out, and get him over to third. Nope, I'm going for the left field wall. It's hit or miss.
Have you seen Ohtani's both homers to left? How easy the swing was.
Yeah.
He went with the pitch. Last night, it was almost like a check swing, and the ball went. And then tonight, he just saw the pitch was a fastball on the outside.
Same thing with Bryce. Wait till Bryce gets it going. You see his stroke to the wall?
Yeah, I saw the triple,
just
the double.
Nice.
Yep, nice and easy.
Yeah, the Dodger announcers, they were saying at the sound of the bat, they thought it was gone. And it got over Conforto's head quick.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing pretty deep, but he still couldn't get it because that thing had, a lefty hitting the ball, it's going to move away from you.
Move away from me, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really hard that spin. But, wow, Cal's down 27-0. Unbelievable. And they had a chance. They were only down 13-0, and they had a chance.
Two mistakes.
Two turnovers for touchdowns.
On the road.
Yep. So, anyway, Chapman is coming back next year, most likely. I don't think the Giants will trade him. I don't think they'll trade. Look, I think the team's going to be relatively the same with a few minor tweaks, and maybe they go out and get a closer, which would help. But
I think so.
They're going to need several bullpen arms. Robert says, Dan, please explain the recent Giant winning streak. Well, Robert, do you recall they had 18 consecutive games where they hit home runs?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just one home run many times. It was multiple home runs. Devers actually got hot for the first time. Chapman was hot for a while. Adames was hot. Look, are the Giants going to end up? Is Adames going to end up with 29 homers? I bet you he does. I think it's the curse. You know what? I don't know what the curse is on the Giants, but there's something. Maybe it's Larry Bear knocking his wife off the chair.
Well, hey, Dan, here's something. I mean, right now I'm looking at the roster. These are guys. Do you want him back next year? Like, I'm just going to go through the pitching staff. And are they difference makers? So I'm going to start on the top. Tristan Beck. Do you want him back for next year? And is he a difference maker in the pen?
He's a 4A pitcher.
All right. Spencer Bivens.
He's okay. He can fill a bullpen spot. He's not the worst. He's not the greatest. He's fine.
JT Baker.
Brubaker. I haven't seen enough of this guy. He doesn't, again.
He's 31 years old, by the way. So next year he'll be 32.
See you later.
All right. Whatever. Jose Budo.
Give him the boot. No, he's in the Rodgers trade. He's nothing special. He's serviceable.
Matt Gage.
Same. He's serviceable. He's nothing
By the way,
special.
he's going to be 33 next season.
Yeah, nothing special.
Lucchesi,
Fine, nothing special.
he's going to be 33 next year.
Yeah,
Just so
nothing
you know.
special.
The guy they just called up, Trevor McDonald.
To be TBD.
Your buddy. All right. Joe Paguero. Am I saying it right? Paguero.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, he's fine. He's
Okay.
young. No, how old is he? 28?
He's 28.
Yeah. His first year in the majors at 28.
That's always something. And you got to remember,
totally.
he's from the Dominican Republic, so he could be 5 years older.
Yeah, he could be 40. All right.
All right. Robbie Ray. Okay. We'll be happy with him. KC home run Seymour.
Carson, you mean?
Yeah. I said, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Carson, see you later.
Tang.
Highway, hit the highway.
All right. Justin Verlander.
He'd be fine. I don't think he wants to come back for a team that can't win.
All right.
He wants
Ryan Walker.
Get him out of here.
Okay. And Webb.
And Webb, he's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So out of all that, that's our pitching staff. You've said yes to 4. Okay.
Who did I say yes to? Webb, Bivens.
Verlander.
But I don't think Verlander's going to come back.
Yeah. So now you go to the catcher situation. I'm not even going to mention the great McDonald because I don't think he's ever played a game for the Giants. So Patrick Bailey, are you happy with him?
Nice guy, but no.
Okay. His backup, Kinsner.
See ya. Whatever.
All
Who
right.
cares?
Now let's go to the guys. Casey Schmidt.
Casey is a solid player to have on the team, and I'd like to see him what he looks like with a full season just playing.
Okay.
And I don't think he's ever going to be
he's good backup, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Costs.
Whatever.
Okay. Do you want William back? Flores for one more year at his age?
No.
He's going to be 35. Okay.
Yep.
Chapman.
Nope. They're stuck with him, but I would get rid of him if I could.
And then Adames.
Yeah, they're stuck with him, and I would.
Okay. Now let's go to the powerful part of us, our outfielders. Encarnacion from Mexico League.
He's a whatever. He's like
Drew Gilbert.
Give you Gilbert, good outfielder. I need to see what he can do over the course of a year.
Grant McKay.
Grant McKay. He's fast. Got a good arm. Can't hit.
Okay. Jung-Hoo Lee.
Overpaid and just he'd be really nice to have on a really good team. But
all right,
he's
Ramos. Now remember, Ramos had a tough year this year. If he wasn't hitting offensively, his running problems and his defense were atrocious.
Yeah.
And then you got Devers. So literally, probably you only really want to keep probably 40% of this team. That's a major problem. In the beginning of the year, we talked about the Giants had a lot of holes. I think somehow we have more holes this offseason than we did last year.
Yeah. Let me address one guy in here who's talking about costs. Jay, how old is Koss, by the way? 28?
27.
Okay. Look, Koss is a nice piece as a backup. You play him every day, you're not going to like it. You're just not going to like. There's a reason at 27 the guy's nobody'd ever heard of him before he became a Giant. Okay? He's not anything special. He can give you a few games here or there. He can start for you for a week if you need to. But if you have him in the lineup for more than a week or two, He's just, come on, you know.
Don't you think he's sort of like a Brett Wisely, who unfortunately
Yeah,
is now with the
exactly.
Atlanta Braves? We have the same mold of these same guys every year.
Well, every team
Fitzgerald,
has
Brett
these.
Wisely.
Every team has these guys, and they're a dime a dozen. They're
Yeah.
called utility players for a reason.
For a reason.
They don't have a set position. They're just a utility guy, and
Dan, did you freeze there? Daddy-o? Can you guys see Dan? He's frozen on mine. Can you guys see Dan? Somebody in the chat? Beto, is Dan froze on yours?
I'm back.
There you go. Welcome.
I must have. Yeah, I had.
It's all right.
Maybe I got too much internet going here. I got 3 things going at once.
You're allowed to.
Look, Koss is a utility guy. What's the guy that hit the home run for the Giants in the 16 playoffs? The lefty in against the Mets to win it. Connor Gillespie. He's
Gillespie, yeah.
Come on.
They're all the same guy.
They're all the same
mold.
guy. Come on. Yeah. Come on. You know,
they're like a 24th, 25th, 26th player on the bench.
Yeah.
Occasionally he'll come up and come through, but that's it. They're not different makers.
I froze up like the Giants bats. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's possible, Alex. It's possible. That's why you got to find out and see, give them another year. And if, also you got to realize, unfortunately, in today's game, these 235, 240 guys, that's Chapman. That's Adames. That's where these guys live now. I like his defense. I could tell you that he's a really good defender. He's made very few mistakes at second base. He's hitting the ball better as far as contact than he was his first couple years. We'll see. I don't think any of these guys are knocking the door down for Cooperstown on this team. I don't even think Devers is a Hall of Famer at this point. He's going to have to prove it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of areas of improvement, guys, that are going to be needed. I think the Giants feel like they will. Here's the words that you're going to hear, and you're going to hear it in a letter if you're a season ticket holder from Larry Bear, and you're going to hear it from Buster at the end of the season, and they're going to talk about there's a lot of good things we saw this year. Unfortunately, we ran into some key injuries. We were pitching staff. We had young pitchers in Birdsong and Roop that, Birdsong struggled, and we hit a skid at the wrong time just before the trade deadline. We decided to go for some moves for the future. But then you saw what this team is capable of when we ran off 11 out of 12. And this is the team that we really think we are. We just need to work on a few fundamental changes in the off season, add a little piece here and there. And we think we're going to be a very competitive team next year with a full season of Rafi Devers and Bryce Eldridge. And we're going to, we like this kid Rodriguez. He can hit. And that's what you're going to hear. I can almost guarantee it. And you know what you're going to get back? You're going to get a 500 team again. Because this team does not have the horses to compete in the second half of the season. Who is it that is actually coming through? It's Verlander, who's a Hall of Famer, who's done it, who's been there before, who's actually knows what a stretch drive looks like. Who on this team besides Devers? And look, Devers has just been non-existent the last few weeks. Ever since they started losing. Look, September 13th, guys, 1 week ago tonight, the Giants had a chance to go into the third wild card on their own ahead of the Mets with one less loss than the Mets. They lost that game. They lost Sunday. They lost Monday. They lost Tuesday. They won Wednesday. They've lost Thursday. And they lost Thursday, and they lost Friday, and they lost Saturday. So what is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 of 8. The Giants have lost 7 of their last 8 games in the midst of a 13-day off. And does Matt Chapman get a day off in this stretch? No. But we got to play Matt Chapman even though he's not hitting. I convinced you for next year, Robert. Convinced you how? Convinced you that they're going to be 500 again next year, or convinced you that they're going to be better? Look, I was wrong on this team. I drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid in the spring training. I saw a team that was had great vibes to it, had a lot of excitement. There was the Buster effect. I should have put my thinking cap on a little bit more and realized that this is what happens in any organization where there's change. People get excited, but then after a while, things revert back to reality. When reality hits, that there's nothing there. This is like I've seen it over and over again in my career as a sales manager. I've seen it just when new things happen, people get excited, and then when the newness wears off, you're stuck with who you are. And the Giants have shown who they are. They are a 500 team. What's coming up that makes you feel better? What's coming
he's
up,
already
right?
up right now. We have nobody else.
Yeah,
he's the only person.
Eldridge, that's it. That's it. If the Rockies were not in this division, I mean, if I turn around and look here, you got the Rockies, the Nationals, and the Pirates at the bottom of the league. The Giants are just above them.
Hey, Dan, to remind the chat, we picked up Devers in a trade, and we paid for the highest Giant of all time, Adames. And we're in 4th place right now. Where were we at the end of the season last year? I sort of forgot. It was so long ago.
4th.
The exact same. So it tells you.
Will I hit the over? Here's where I feel that's going to happen with the over. This is my gut. All right. I think the Giants win. I think they lose tomorrow. I don't know if TDS has it or TBD. I mean,
then they go 4-2, or they
go 4-2. They win 2 against St. Louis, who's no good either, and they win at least 2 against the Rockies, and then they have this big fan appreciation, and somebody gets up to speak, and they're like, "Hey, it was an exciting season. We were in it all the way, and we just hit this a tough mark. We won 11 of 12. We were playing great, and then we ran up against some tough pitching and defense. Maybe the Giants win tomorrow. You know why? Because they won the first game in every series against the Dodgers and lost all of them. Now they lost the first 3. Watch them win tomorrow and tie the all-time record at 1288 and 1288, and there's a few ties in there. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. You watch. The Giants will win one tomorrow, and the Mets will win tomorrow, though. The Mets will win tomorrow, and the Giants will be, what are they out right now? 4?
Let me take
4.
a look. But you got to remember is that if the Mets lose tomorrow and the Reds win, the Reds hold the tiebreaker. They would be in the lead.
All right, so here's the standings right now as we speak. The Giants are 4 back, which really means 5 back, and there's only 7 to play. So tomorrow they are going to probably be 5 out with 6 to play.
And is that with the tiebreaker? So they'd be eliminated.
No, that's I'm counting the tiebreaker. 5. So they would have to win all 6, and the Mets would have to lose all 6.
Now, I have a question. If the Giants are eliminated and Webb pitches Tuesday night and he gets to 200 innings, do you pitch him the second to last of the year? Or do you just say, hey, let's think about next year?
Me personally, I would say let's think of next year, but they'll probably let him go out there. Yeah. They're probably not. I'm only talking about baseball. Yeah. This guy says you're not beating Sheehan with your 9.0 ERA pitcher. Look, probably not, but I'm just saying the way baseball works I would not bet the Giants tomorrow. Early on, I said, when I saw the Dodgers speech in the clubhouse, and I played it last night for everybody. I don't know if you saw that, Lou. I said the Giants aren't winning a game in this series. Dodgers are focused. And look, here's what the Dodgers want to do. They want to clinch by Tuesday. They want the rest of the week to be, because they're used to a bye. They don't get a bye this year. So this will be their bye. They want to clinch, and they're focused, and they're going to just set up everything to face the Mets or the Reds. And that's where it's at. So I don't know.
Understandable. No, it's, you bring up good points. I mean, and guys, it could be worse. If Verlander didn't come through the last 3 starts, only giving up 1 run, it would have been over this weekend. I mean, I just think it's amazing that if you go back that Friday night, the Giants won on the Grand Slam. The place goes crazy, right? Again, Bailey comes through, place goes crazy, and then they bounce back and they get destroyed. I mean, they got destroyed. They lost 6-3. Then they got beat the next game. It's just one of these things. This is what this team's about. And we brought this up on, I don't know if it was Hot Corner, one of the things, when Bailey hit the walk-off grand slam. The next game, the Giants lost 13-0. They're just not consistent, And, speaking of that, Dan, I know we talked about it, but, next Friday is the Willie Mack Award. Are you sticking with Webb as your Willie Mack Award winner?
Could be Dom Smith, and they miss him, I think.
I agree.
Who did I say it was going to be? Webb or Adames, right?
Yeah.
Willie Adames got picked off tonight. He was out. I'm going to go with Webb. They gave it to him, but if he was called out, they wouldn't have over. They would.
I mean, I don't know why they go to New York when you could see it on TV. He was out. Tom Murphy should win the award. That's a good one.
Yeah, you know what? Anybody who gets look, you get picked off with Eldridge at the plate with the tying run. Come on, there's no reason for you to get picked. Anyway, look, the Dodgers are just toying with the Giants right now. I mean, they didn't even pitch Vessier or Scott to close the game. They brought in
and we didn't have to face Snell. We got lucky.
Yeah. George says the Giants should play the youngsters to get the best luck possible. This team sucks. We need 3 starting pitchers, a closer, 2 setup men, need at least 2 outfielders, a second baseman, possibly another catcher, maybe a center fielder, maybe a left fielder, maybe a shortstop, third. No, no. Hey, look, I get your point, George. Exactly. They need a ton. I honestly look. I am not ripping on Buster. Where is he? Where's my buddy? My Buster boy is. Where is he? Hey, Buster, where are you? I don't know where Buster's at tonight. He's usually in here laying down with me next to me, but he's probably sacked out in the other room. But I am look, Buster Posey is a great guy. I am not here to bag on Buster Posey. Okay. I think he is a winner. All right. I really do. I think he wants to win. He wants to turn this thing around. But guys, listen to me. I don't. I'm speaking softly because I don't want too many people to hear this. I don't know if he's the right man for the job, not because he's not a winner. He's never done this. And his personality is, look, this is a tough job. You got to be a salesman type person. You got to know how to wheel and deal and be quick and crafty and sharp. And Buster's sharp and he's all
Too
of those
nice.
things. But he's a super nice guy. Exactly, Lou. This is a job that you got to be a bulldog. You got to be tough. You got to be willing to send guys packing when they need to be sent packing. And I'm just telling you this. I will tell you this. If Buster does not hand out pink slips on Sunday afternoon, a week from tomorrow, or Monday of next week, and there's not some serious pink slips, as Christopher says, if that doesn't happen, you will not get a winner under his regime. Okay? Robert says he's very knowledgeable and can evaluate players.
Like Yaz? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And Wade and Fitzgerald just handed him the job over Schmidt and didn't even give Schmidt a shot. They just handed the job to Fitzgerald no matter what happened in spring training. All right. George says, don't count out Buster. Look, I'm not counting him out, but I am counting out the Giants ownership. I don't think they open up the checkbook. If they do, no one said you have to be a jerk to do the job.
It's business, not friendship. It's all about business. It happens.
No one's saying you have to be a jerk. I don't think Brian Sabian was a jerk, but I think he was intentional and he was, he knew a direction, what he wanted to do. Look, if Brian Sabian was not able to get superstars here, and it's the same stinking ownership group, what makes you think they're going to open up the pocketbooks now when they've got Devers, Chapman, Adames, and Lee? Why would they do more? Why would they do more? They've shown a willingness to spend, but they've spent on the wrong players, except Devers. Look, I think Willie Adames is a solid player. I don't think he's going to be the answer long term for shortstop at $27 million a year. I don't think Chapman is a horrible player, but he's not the answer. at $25 million a year. I don't think Jung-Hoo Lee's a horrible player. I don't perceive him to be the answer at $19 million a year. He might turn out to be okay because he's basically just finished his first full season. So I'm willing to give time on Jung-Hoo Lee. I'm not willing to give much more time for Chapman. I've seen this Chapman show for a long time. This guy he hasn't had a great season since 2019.
That was the juice year, Dan. Dan, that was the juice year.
We're entering 2026 season next year. Let's see. That's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. This is going to be seventh season. Okay? Look, when you're talking running a baseball team, all right? And you're trying to win a world championship. That's your goal. Let me ask it this way. I'm making you chat, each and every one of you as an individual. I've got billions of dollars and I'm starting up a brand new company. I don't know. Let's call it a. I don't know. I'm going to compete with Elon Musk in the rocket business. Okay, spaceship, space age stuff, and jack squadly dit about anything to do with space technology, and I'm going to make you the head of the company. You're the guy, okay? We're going to go compete with Elon Musk, and I want you to go out and beat him, and I'm hiring you in the chat, the individual who's never done a thing and doesn't know. You might know some stuff about it, but you've never run it. I mean, there's a complete difference. Why would you want a guy just because? Look, Buster Posey, 2010 Rookie of the Year, 2012 Comeback Player of the Year, MVP, champion 10, 12, 14, Comeback Player of the Year again in 21. This guy's phenomenal. See him all over the TV during the Giants season, all these commercials, him and his wife, and they got these foundation, and he's a super great guy. And you know what? I hope he succeeds. I really do. I'm rooting for him. I hope he kills it. I hope he figures it out and learns. But we'll see. We'll see what he's made of right after the season ends. Because if not too many pink slips are handed out, then I'm pretty much saying that he doesn't. He's more like trying to be the nice guy than just doing what needs to be done. So I'm not that confident that this team is going to all of a sudden take off. When you look at what Brian Sabean did, well, do you guys know that Brian Sabean had worked in the game for years and years and was a really top scout with the Yankees?
With the Yanks, yeah.
I mean, look, you could put me in charge of the baseball team. I wouldn't know how to run a Major League Baseball operation. I would try to learn it. I think, what's the difference of me and Buster, other than Buster played for the organization, does he know? I've been in management for years, Lou. I've run a
Dan, he stayed in a
successful.
Holiday Inn last night, so he has that advantage of you. And he probably saw the Brad Pitt movie, which you haven't seen all the way. So those are the two advantages he has over you trying to be operations. No, I think you bring up a great point. You know, the other thing, Dan, you're not really bringing up, he didn't really hire a GM. You know, we all hate Farhan, and what did he do? He gave a guy that worked under Farhan a promotion. So really, not was there one mistake, there was actually two. And he, instead of saying, "Hey, give me a month, let me see what's out there," you know, we all now a year later say, "Oh, I wish we could have the manager of Cleveland." Well, why didn't we get him last year when he wasn't with Cleveland? You know what I mean, Dan? It's always here easy to see after, but it's, you know, there's a lot of things, and I think Buster needs to make things and admit, hey guys, I was wrong. He was wrong on a lot of stuff, but you know, until he admits it, it's only the fans that see it. You know, I mean, again, I think what makes NorCal Sports Network is we're not KMBR, the commercial leader that love him, cherish him. They think, you know, he hasn't done anything wrong. And then they bring Larry Bear that talks about how great everything is. That's, you know, and that's why KMBR is faltering so bad right now, because they're not living in reality. At least here, you know, and again, hey, I've been wrong. I admit it. Dan's been wrong. But on this show, at least we're consistent. You know, we'll admit it. The only person that hasn't admitted wrong all year has been Robert. Robert, again, for the 5th consecutive year, was 0 for 6 on his predictions. But you know what? Robert will be back next year, and we will see if we can break the ice. But Dan, I think, you know what I mean? I mean, from the beginning, we've been, you know, we all got excited from spring training. We all got excited with the great start. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, Robert talked about the winning. Okay, but now is when the games count. We're 1-6. So who cares about the win streak that bought us back in? When you go 1-6 in your last 7, it's what you've done recently.
No, they're 1-7. They're 1-7 in their last 8.
So, you know, that's how it is. And, you know, again, we brought up a great point. You know, Dan moved the and again, it's hard to believe that you almost moved the cap and moved the Dodgers down where we were 1 game out when the trade happened.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why baseball is so
I put him down. We actually tied him Friday night before the trade.
Yeah.
Casey Smith grand slam.
Was on that Sunday. It's amazing.
They were 41-29. They were tied with the Dodgers. And what did they do the next night? They got blown out. In fact, they had the Dodgers brought in. Was that the night that they brought in a one of their Casey hit a second grand slam, but it was off of
the pitcher
position.
I mean the position player, yeah.
Because the Giants were getting blown out. So look, I like Philip's comment. Philip, is that Coppola or Coppola? I think it's Coppola. That's Italian, right? Philip, come on, that's got to be Italian. Coppola? Yeah, that's Italian, right, Lou? Coppola? Pretty sure.
Could be. Maybe he's only doing Coppola and he's really a Cage. You know, as Nicolas Cage, his real name is Coppola, but since for TV and he didn't want everyone to know who he was. And his aunt's Ty Shire.
And another effing season where they don't trade someone like Ray. How many times as fans do we have to relive this same mess? Yeah, we have every year we call it out. We said they need to trade Ray, and they don't do it. And look where he's at now. This is really a rough thing to watch. I really think I'm going to look at this thing as I'm going to look at it a week from Monday and see what happens. If things do not change, then I will know that this team's going nowhere in 26. So we'll see. We'll see, Lou. I'm not anticipating Annie. Yeah, Italians are God's people. All right, NorCal Sports Talk Live. There we go. I'm not anticipating a whole lot of change next year, Lou. I think they got their foundation with Devers and Eldridge and Chapman and Adam. Look, as we talk and as I talk about Matt Chapman and Adames and their strikeouts, the Giants don't see it that way. They do not see it as I see it. So they think that if they heard my opinion and if they're listening to this, or if they heard me say it right to their face, they would say I'm full of it. They believe in Matt Chapman. Okay. All you got to do is watch.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. This is why I'm telling you, I don't think this team is going anywhere. They believe in the guys they have. They believe in Adames and Chapman. Look, Adames is fine by himself. I'd rather have Adames than Chapman because but I also think he's a big strikeout guy. And Alex says, Dan, they probably do. They just can't say it. Maybe so. You might be right, Alex. But yeah, I'm not impressed at all.
Dan, before we go, predictions. Niners stay undefeated.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me pause that music. Predictions. We forgot to do players of the game too. So I'm going to give my players of the game to Eldridge. He's my player of the game. He knocked in 3 runs. My next player of the game is, you know what? I heard his name come up tonight. I'm not even looking at the box score. I don't think he played, but let's give it up for Christian Koss. All right. Hey, everybody. Christian Koss, one of the players of the game, because he's a super utility guy. And there's guys in the chat that like him. So that's for you. Christian Koss, player of the game. One of the players gets a star, and Eldridge gets the number 1 star. And who's my 3rd star of the Giants? Do we have a 3rd star? I'm trying to remember anybody that did anything.
Brubaker, maybe your boy.
Sure, Brubaker. There we go. Brubaker, Koss, just because his name's Christian Koss. That's for you, Jay. There we go. You're welcome.
Right. I'm only giving 1 star out tonight. That's it, because that's all they deserve. And it's nobody on the major league team. In case you weren't watching, I know Dan was doing other stuff, and that's Eldridge's mom, who got to see her son get the first hit, and she caught a foul ball. She's the only one that actually deserves anything, because without her, Eldridge wouldn't be on the team, but she also got a foul ball. So I think she's the only one that deserves it, and we'll end it with that. That's a first.
There we go.
A parent.
And Beto says Laura Britt gets all 3 of his stars. There we go. All right. Laura's a really good person, too. Yeah, I like Laura Britt. She's a sweet person. I met her at the MLB winter meetings in San Diego, and she's just really good. First class. So, all right. 49ers tomorrow, Mac Jones. You know what?
Remember, Arizona's beaten them 5 out of 6, and they swept them last year.
Yeah. I think, and I'm not trying to be a homer here. I'm just going with my got the Giants are fading, and the Niners seem to be carrying the flag for the Bay Area right now. The Valkyries got bounced.
Hey, how about a choke job? Up 18 at home in the 3rd quarter with 2 minutes left. That's a choke job. I don't care if the crowd went crazy.
Be careful there, Lou. You're breaking some rules.
Just making sure. I know.
Okay. We can't have that on this network. This is a sports network. This is a sports network show. It's called NorCal Sports Network. We're not going to go there where we're not going to talk about the women that get off the ground by 2 or 3 inches and play 3 feet below the rim. Okay. I'm just not going to go there. I'll leave that up to other channels that get excited about women that can't touch the net. That's okay. Not for me. Not for me. But that was close. That was close. We had to get that jump in there. I had to pop that in there. There it is. I'm the one that brought up the Valkyries first. Yes, but I will say, when I did read that, I said, you know what? Let me look up the highlight. I could tell you, I had a rough night. I cried like a baby. I did not sleep well that night.
Obviously.
And I was torn. And, I don't know. I might have to go. Yeah, that's it. All right. Niners tomorrow. I think it's a close game. I think it's comes down to the last few minutes, and I'm going to say the defense comes up with another big stop and they hold off the Cardinals. I don't know what the score is going to be. It's just going to be very close. It's going to come down to a defensive play for the Niners tomorrow.
All right. Just thought I'd ask because I know, you got your lid on, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah. And no Purdy. Oh, is Jennings out tomorrow? What's wrong with Jennings?
He got hurt at the end of the last game.
Yeah. What was the injury? Ankle?
Yeah, he came down wrong, if I remember right.
Okay. That might be tough. I didn't realize that. I don't follow it haven't as heavily as I normally do all week long. But yeah, I was broken up about that. It tore me to pieces. My wife was consoling me. She just like, what has happened to you? And I said, I don't know. I just, but you know what? We'll get through it.
All right, good.
All right. So what do you got tomorrow? You got the Cardinals as my guess?
I just think the Cardinals have their number. I think, the Niners, this will be their first true test. I know they won on the road, but I think, tell you the truth, they almost could have lost both, but they won. So, I think missing, when you miss your best tight end, who is very valuable, and Purdy,
and you're missing Jennings too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than some of these guys. So I'll say 24-21 Arizona, and I'll end it this way. Niners have a chance to tie, and we miss a field goal late.
Oh, with the new kicker?
Well, he missed the first one he started with. You remember how great that was? Here it is. We complain about Moody, and then the first one.
Extra point, but he is 4th all time in field goal percentage.
Again, how old, that was in the past. There's a reason why he wasn't on a different team, but I'll just go with that.
What's the weather like tomorrow, Santa Clara? Let me look.
Oh no, it should be fine. No problem.
Should be good. Is it going to be hot?
Yeah.
Or is it?
It's more cool.
All right, let's see what the weather is here. I'm pulling up the forecast. You guys all probably have it, but the forecast for tomorrow in Santa Clara, if we can get this to pop up here. All right, we got San Francisco. All right, hold on. It might help if. All right. Sorry about that. Santa Clara.
And Dan, I'm concerned about your buddy Ryan. He's got a tough game at LA. If they lose tomorrow, they're 2.
The Chargers,
Chargers.
Nice. I'm going for the Chargers. Yeah, tomorrow in Santa Clara, perfect weather, 83 degrees.
Perfect.
That's perfect. That's perfect. All right. Niners tomorrow. There we go. And if you are of the, I know football's going on, but if you're, I believe, if we'll throw this out just for anybody that wants to know about it, doesn't know about it. I think there's the huge service tomorrow. I think it's at 11 o'clock here in just 20
for Kirk,
minutes from about 20 minutes from my house for Charlie Kirk. So expecting huge crowds. So I think I'll probably watch on TV, but anyway, should be fun. So let's.
And then Hot Corner tomorrow night. Again, I assume.
Is that the last one, or do we have one more? I'm gonna cue the band.
All right, let's do it.
I have to. I guess it is Hot Corner night tomorrow.
Guys, have a safe night. Enjoy football tomorrow.
Yeah, when the music goes on at the end, we have to wait like 15 seconds. Am I muffled or am I clear?
You're good.
All right. All right, guys. It's been a long season. And yes, I like what the Buffalo Bills did the other night. I don't know if you saw that. They gave a tribute to Charlie Kirk Thursday night on the scoreboard. I thought that was pretty cool. You're welcome, Spencer. And only 3 times. Are they wearing primary red tomorrow? Or is that should be interesting. Oh, wearing white tomorrow to stay cool. That makes sense.
And let Arizona wear red.
There you go.
Right.
Smart. Well, I like that. I do like that a lot. All right, guys. We'll see you sometime tomorrow night after the Giants get swept. And hang in there. Could be worse. You could be a Valkyries fan. Take care.